Every night at exactly 12 a.m., the world stops. I don't mean it slows down. I don't mean people fall asleep. I mean everything actually stops. Cars freeze in the middle of the road. People stop mid-blink. Even sound disappears completely, like someone muted reality itself. For a long time, I believed I was the only person still moving when it happened. Until last night. My name is Alex. I'm not special. I don't have powers. I'm not chosen by anyone. I'm just someone who happened to stay conscious when the rest of the world didn't. The first time it happened, I convinced myself it was a dream. But dreams don't repeat the exact same way every night. This did. And that's when I realized something was seriously wrong. The other night, I was lying on my bed, scrolling through my phone, barely paying attention to anything. The fan above me was running. I could hear traffic outside. Somewhere down the street, a dog was barking. Normal sounds. Normal routine. Then, without warning, everything cut out. The fan froze mid-spin. The barking stopped abruptly, like the sound had been sliced in half. The traffic noise vanished completely. Not gradually. Instantly. The silence that followed didn't feel calm. It felt heavy. Like pressure building in the air. At first, I thought something was wrong with my hearing. Then I looked up at the fan and realized it wasn't slowing down. It wasn't moving at all. I sat up slowly, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The fan blades were perfectly still. Not wobbling. Not shifting. Just stuck. I waved my hand under it. Nothing changed. That's when the unease started. Not panic. Not fear. Just that quiet feeling in your chest when something isn't right, and you don't yet know why. I walked over to the window. The streetlight outside was still glowing like normal. But everything underneath it had changed. A man stood on the sidewalk with his phone pressed to his ear, completely motionless. A dog was frozen mid-step, one paw lifted off the ground. A car sat in the middle of the road with its headlights still on. Nothing moved. Not even slightly. It looked like someone had paused the entire street. I don't know why I opened the door. Maybe curiosity. Maybe denial. Maybe I just needed to confirm it wasn't my imagination. The moment I stepped outside, the world felt wrong in a way I can't properly explain. The air felt thick. Heavy. Like everything was suspended in place, including the atmosphere itself. No breeze. No distant sounds. No movement anywhere. I walked closer to the man with the phone. He didn't blink. Didn't react. Didn't even seem to be breathing. I waved my hand in front of his face. Nothing. That was the moment it became real. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't my mind playing tricks on me. Everyone else was frozen. And I wasn't. When time came back, it happened instantly. One moment, everything was still. The next, the fan was spinning again, traffic noise filled the street, the dog resumed barking like nothing had happened. The world didn't stutter. It didn't glitch. It didn't react. It just continued. Like those missing seconds had never existed. But I remembered them. Every detail. Every frozen face. Every motionless moment. The next morning, I tried to convince myself I'd imagined it. Lack of sleep. Stress. Overthinking. But deep down, I already knew the truth. Something real had happened, and it was going to happen again. The second night, I stayed awake on purpose. I watched the clock instead of my phone. 11:58. 11:59. My heart started beating faster, even though I didn't fully understand why. 11:59 and 58 seconds. 11:59 and 59. Then silence. Exactly on time. Perfectly predictable. That's what scared me the most. This wasn't random. This was structured. Like something had been scheduled. This time, instead of panicking, I tested things. I picked up a book. It felt normal. I flipped through the pages. They moved normally. I dropped a pen. It hit the floor like it always would. I moved a chair across the room. When time resumed later, the chair stayed where I had moved it. Nothing reset. Nothing corrected itself. Whatever this pause was, it wasn't just something I was experiencing internally. It was affecting the physical world. That meant this was bigger than me. And that meant I was part of something I didn't understand. Over the next few nights, I started going farther. At first, just my street. Then nearby blocks. Then entire neighborhoods. The city during the pause felt abandoned, but not empty. Everywhere I went, people were stuck in unfinished moments. Someone frozen mid-laugh. Someone frozen mid-argument. Someone reaching for a door that would never open. I walked through places I'd never paid attention to before. Offices. Stores. Hospital corridors. You notice a lot about people when they're no longer moving. And some of the things I saw were hard to forget. The longer I spent in the pause, the heavier it started to feel. Not physically. Mentally. You start to realize how much motion distracts us in normal life. How much noise hides what's really happening around us. When everything stops, you see things clearly. Tension in people's faces. Fear they're pretending not to have. Anger frozen just beneath the surface. It felt like I was walking through the truth of the world. And the truth wasn't comforting. After a while, the silence started to get to me. Not just silence of sound, but silence of response. No one could hear me. No one could see me. No one could acknowledge that I was there. I tried speaking once, just to hear a voice. My own. It echoed in the empty street in a way that made me uncomfortable. Like I was the only real thing left in the world. That kind of isolation does something to your head. It makes you start questioning things. Like whether you're actually alone. The feeling started subtly. Just a sense that something had changed. The same streets. The same frozen people. The same silence. But something felt different. Like walking into a room where a conversation had just stopped. I turned around more than once, expecting to see someone behind me. There was never anyone there. Still, the feeling didn't go away. And eventually, I stopped asking myself if I was imagining it. Because deep down, I knew I wasn't. That night, the pause felt different immediately. The air felt heavier than usual. The silence felt tighter, almost pressurized. I walked toward the main road like I always did. Everything looked normal at first. Same frozen people. Same stopped cars. Same stillness. Then I noticed something small. Something I almost dismissed. Movement. Just barely noticeable. But real. Someone across the street blinked. Just once. Slowly. Deliberately. My entire body went cold. Because hallucinations don't behave like that. They don't act with intention. The person's eyes shifted. And they were looking directly at me. Not frozen. Not unaware. Fully conscious. Just like I was. They stood there for a moment, studying me. Then their head tilted slightly, like they were evaluating something. Measuring me. And then they smiled. It wasn't friendly. It wasn't surprised. It was the kind of smile someone gives when they've been waiting for something to happen. They took a step toward me. Then another. And when they were close enough, they spoke quietly. Just 2 words. You're late.